Stop obsessing over insulin. What if I told you that your stubborn PCOS symptoms like the fatigue, the hair loss, the weight that won't budge aren't caused by insulin resistance at all? They're being fueled by high cortisol, which is your body's main stress hormone. And this hidden adrenal pattern might be the precise reason why things that you've been trying haven't been working. Hi, I'm Dr. Steffe, a naturopathic doctor. If you've been told to just lose weight or to go on birth control and you still feel stuck, you're absolutely not alone. Many women are misdiagnosed when they have PCOS because most doctors only focus on the most common type, which is insulin-driven PCOS, completely overlooking the adrenal subtype of PCOS. Today, we're decoding the different types of PCOS subtypes. In this video, you'll learn how cortisol disrupts your hormones and your ovulation, the 4 clear clues that you have adrenal PCOS, and then what to do next in part 2 of this series. Let's decode what's really happening because your body is not broken. What it's really doing is protecting you from chronic stress. Most conversations about PCOS focus on insulin resistance. Insulin acts like a key that helps your body unlock sugar so it can go into your cells. But when that key stops working, insulin stops working the way it's supposed to and can overproduce, leading to insulin resistance. When the body has all this extra insulin in it, it will then send the signal to your ovary to start producing something called androgens. Androgens are male-type hormones. As women, we still need these, but in this PCOS state, we have too much of these testosterone androgen hormones. This is the typical PCOS story, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about the 1 in 4 women that don't fall into that category and pattern. And so women like this, their insulin looks normal. They might be eating a healthy and well-balanced diet, but their androgens are still high. So things like a hormone called DHEA on blood work is high. Your testosterone is high. Those are the 2 types of testosterones that are high when women have PCOS. So if it's not being caused by that high insulin, what's really happening? In these type of cases, this is what's really going on. There is a part in your body called your adrenal gland. And your adrenal gland are 2 little small glands that sit on top of your kidneys. And what these glands do is they pump out stress hormones. But the thing is, they don't only pump out these stress hormones, they also pump out some of these androgen-like hormones like DHEA. So if the body's getting this signal to pump out stress signals, it will also tell that adrenal gland to also pump out this DHEA. So when we live in long-term stress, this is when our adrenal glands are going to overproduce these stress type hormones. This is going to start throwing off how our body normally operates. We have a connection between our ovaries all the way to our brain. And when there's a lot of these stress chemicals like cortisol and DHEA in the mix, that connection from ovary to brain gets miscommunicated. And this is what we call adrenal PCOS. When we have adrenal PCOS, that DHEA hormone is going to be high. And recognizing this is going to change everything when it comes to your healing and the plan it's going to take to help you balance things out when you have adrenal PCOS. Now, I want to unpack some things. Cortisol isn't bad. We can see it getting talked about a lot online, and this is where I want to help you understand what cortisol actually does. First off, cortisol is your body's main form of a survival hormone. When our bodies gets any type of indication of threat, it is going to release cortisol. And this comes from our evolutionary past. So think of, back in the day, and we might have come across an animal. Our body would then release cortisol to be like, hey, you need to go on guard to whether you have to run away from this potential animal because it's harmful, or you might need to attack it. But here's one of the main differences. Back then, when that threat left, our cortisol would go back down to baseline. and we would go about just living our normal life with our body returning to balance. But in today's world, it's going to look different because we might not have an animal chasing after us, but we have a lot of multiple things that are coming into our environment that's threatening us. So it could be the endless emails, the deadlines, the skipping of meals, having to figure out how to balance your work and your life, putting down boundaries, constantly going to different hit high intensity classes. So in today's world, we're not running after or potentially fighting an animal, but we have all those different things that I mentioned that's going on that's sending the signal to our body, cortisol, 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 to get released because our body is perceiving that it's in a very stressful survival state, which can fuel this adrenal PCOS-like picture. I want to take it a step further to help you understand how now this stress is affecting your periods, which is a main thing that happens when we have PCOS. So if our body's getting this constant signal of stress, now in the body, that perception of stress means survival. I need to figure out how I'm going to continue to live. If the body senses that, then it's going to say, biologically, it's not safe to reproduce. If it's not safe to reproduce, I'm going to start dialing down how my hormones are and prevent the body from ovulating. And so if we stop ovulation, this becomes a major picture of what women experience with PCOS. Their periods disappear. And then when we don't ovulate, we don't make another important female hormone called progesterone. And a major thing that what progesterone does, it helps calm our body, calm our nervous system. So if we aren't ovulating, that means we're not going to produce progesterone. If we don't produce progesterone, we're not going to have the feelings of calm. And so this is also why many women with PCOS can feel the anxiety, feeling the up and down irritability, because their whole hormonal system has started to become majorly imbalanced. So this makes our body go through all these different loops. High stress can mean that a lot of cortisol is being made, but then that also can mean a lot of that DHEA hormone is made. High DHEA turns the signal off down at the ovary, not going to ovulate. DHEA is also a testosterone-like hormone. That's going to turn on the signal for things like acne, especially the cystic kind and ones that we can have on our chest or on our back. Or maybe we start getting really dark hair growth in areas that women typically don't have. So like on their chin, on their neck, a lot more on their abdomen and in their groin area. These are all very classic signs of PCOS. And now you're going to start understanding why it's happening. So I want to sum it up. If our body's getting this constant stress response, that can just feed into this PCOS loop for women with adrenal PCOS. The longer that this cycle and mismatch happens, the harder it is for your body to come back to its baseline normal that would encourage regular ovulation, which would give the regular periods. So now that you understand the science, you might be wondering, okay, how might I know if I have the adrenal type of PCOS? Here are 4 very clear clues. You're wired or tired. You feel low energy most of the day and drag your feet, but then in the evening and nighttime, you're super wired. There's a mismatch in your energy where you're tired at the beginning of the day when you should have energy, and at nighttime in the evening when you should start getting low energy, that's when you come alive. The second clue is high stress will flare your PCOS symptoms. When you might know that you do have a high stressful time, like traveling, planning an event, a big emotional breakup, this is when you notice things get stronger. You break out and have more acne, your cycles become super irregular, or you start noticing that dark hair growth come in really strong. The third is cortisol belly. Even if you're relatively lean, many women experience that stubborn lower body belly fat where you're trying to do all of the things and it's just not budging. When we're under high stress, our body's going to put fat down as a reserve for protection. And the fourth one that I think is probably going to be one of the most common is that high achieving type A perfectionist woman. You might have trouble saying no, have challenges with your work-life balance. You're on that go, go, go. It's actually hard for you just to relax, and your calendar is always busy. If 2 or more of these sound like you, it's a really good chance that you have this adrenal type PCOS and your stress hormones are on overdrive. So here's the bottom line. The solution to adrenal PCOS isn't stricter diets and isn't working out more. In fact, those 2 things will actually make this worse. The real solution comes down to stress management. And for the average woman with adrenal PCOS, that means learning how to slow down, learning how to really sit with your emotions and not suppress them and keep moving on to the next thing. When we do this, we can start rebuilding your hormones from bottom up. Your body gets the signal that it's no longer in survival. If your body's no longer in survival, it could start turning back on the hormones so that your ovary can actually release an egg and ovulation can occur, and that balance comes back into the system. In part 2 of this series, I'll share the top 5 ways you can naturally start lowering your cortisol, whether that be from certain nutrients, nutrition. They're all going to be strategies to help your body get into that state of calm. If this video helped you connect the dots, please hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next one. And tell me in the comments below, which of the 4 clues resonated with you the most? I read all of the comments. I'm really curious to learn what some of these are for you.